we have Pallab Banerjee, Managing Director and Group President at Pearl Global Industries, joining in with us, as well as Tausif Mirza, who is the MD at Mirza International, and Nitin Panwar, who is the Group CFO at Weber Global, to talk to us about the benefits we are seeing, the much-awaited deal for most of these sectors that everyone's keeping an eye out on. Mr. Pallab, I'm going to start with you. Let's talk about the benefit that we're talking about that comes in for the textile players. Obviously, previously, the rate was around 8 to 12%, differentiating between ready-made garments as well as home textile. What is the benefit for you that you see coming in? As well as your UK exposure is only 5-6%, I believe, right now. If you could talk to us, where do you see that moving in the next couple of years?
Thank you, first of all, for having me on the show, Vinny. And yes, it's a very exciting time that India is doing this FTAs or the BTAs with various countries. I think this is a good time for India. India was exporting approximately about $1 billion plus of garments to UK. I think that number should significantly go up as we start this. I think it will be starting in the next 6 to 8 months, I believe. This tariff would go away. And we would be at par with other countries like Bangladesh, Cambodia, Vietnam. So they had that. And there's an undue advantage that India was having because the Indian goods were subject to this tariff, whereas the goods coming from the other countries were not. This is, in the short run, definitely we will gain with the kind of raw material that is available in India, that is cotton products and cellulosic products and this kind of thing, like we will definitely scale up. But also it will be a good boost to the industry to invest into the other, category of products, which is not typically made in India. Like the synthetics and all, which was the world still depends on the Far East or the Chinese raw materials and all. So that's something also over the long period of time, India will invest more and will have much more infrastructure to do that as well. So overall, we are looking at it very positively. Talking of Pearl Global, we do manufacture out of Bangladesh, Vietnam, Indonesia, India, and Guatemala. So naturally, like we have been taking those advantages from which the other countries had. So now with this thing happening, we had seen a lot of positive traction amongst the customers to do business out of India. So that's getting a boost along with the other countries as well. And a lot of migration is going to happen from China. If you see, like they will still be subject to a tariff of up to 12%.
Right. Nitin, just a two-part question. Let's keep it very simple. As of now, what proportion of your revenue comes in from the UK? If you could give us that number. And what proportion of that is actually manufactured in India? And secondly, was duty the only thing that was stopping us from actually exporting to the UK? I'm sure capacity, quality, a lot of product that they required would be the others as well. So now that it has come down, how long before we stand to benefit from this? Because manufacturing, etc., you said like you have your ecosystem in other countries as well. Will you bring that back to India? How much comes in from the UK and how long before we start to benefit?
Approximately about 4,506 crores. Out of that, about 5% was coming from the UK sales. So that number. We are seeing that, at least the India was a smaller portion because, as I said, the other markets were more competitive. When the retailer was importing the goods out of, let's say, Bangladesh and Vietnam, they were not paying that duty. Whereas if they are importing the goods from India, they were subject to a 10% or 12% kind of duty or tariff. So that was making it a little bit more expensive for the customers. So naturally, this tendency was that if something which is only unique in India, let's buy that from India and balance we buy from the other countries. So that particular barrier is now going away. So that's one good thing that is happening. And if you look at specifically Pearl numbers that you're asking for, we are expecting that the India portion of that UK sales that we're doing, we're looking for almost like 2 to 3 times immediate within this next 1.5 year growth, because these customers have been talking to us. They have been planning to shift some of their production into India if this thing happens. So this has been, as you said, like the discussion has been happening for a very long time, almost like 3 years. So we had seen certain traction and preparedness for it. So I think this is the time that we should immediately start getting those benefits. But yes, both the parliaments are still yet to approve it, and then the customs or of UK or India will start waiving.
Absolutely. Absolutely, but let's talk about gems and jewelries as well, right? Because that's where some benefit comes in as well. Nitin, bringing you in the conversation as well. There's, a lot more that is happening here. One, what is the benefit that you see for Weber Global? You have a good exposure coming in from UK as well. How do you see that moving? And is there enough actually to meet the additional demand that you all may get in?
Certainly, you are spot on that this agreement will definitely change the dynamics of India-UK trade. India is 12th largest business partner of UK, and specifically gems and jewelry, around almost $1 billion gems and jewelry export from India is 400 million is jewelry itself, is having a roughly duty of 3 to 5%. And that will definitely change the demand, where Indian craftsmanship of jewelry is really valued by UK consumer. And we see that the removing that and easiness of all the customs and clearance processes will definitely help to boost the demand. We currently export from India roughly around $15 million in UK. And we expect that this will definitely improve in coming years, as the jewelry demand is quite prominent in UK in all across physical retail and online e-commerce markets.
All right, so that's about the gems and jewelry piece. Let's bring in Mr. Mirza as well. Tausif Mirza joins in from Mirza Global. Thanks a lot, Mr. Mirza, for joining in. Have you made any exports to UK earlier, and was duty the only reason why you wouldn't make any exports there?
It's not like that. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me. And this was a most important agreement we've been looking forward to since a very long time. We at Mirza International are exporting more than 400 or 560 crores worth of goods. And out of that, at least 65 to 70% of our exports is to the UK. So I think giving us this duty advantage definitely will be a big boost to the overall industry of especially footwear and leather sector. Because at the moment, the duty rate ranges from 4% to around 14%. And like Mr. Banerjee said, that, so we had the same problem that Cambodia, Vietnam, and Bangladesh and Indonesia were already enjoying the zero duty benefits. And that was the huge disadvantage at times that we were facing. And a lot of these Chinese manufacturers have got set up factories in Cambodia and Myanmar and Vietnam and Bangladesh. So they were using that advantage to their favor by bringing in duty-free imports from their country, from China into Bangladesh, for instance, and then exporting those footwear into UK's with zero duty. So that will be a huge boost, I think. And in fact, I would feel that this could be a game changer for us, for the overall footwear industry. I think we have to be very bullish about it. And there's a chance to multiply this business at least fivefold over in the next maybe 2 to 3 years. At the moment, for example, the Indian exports to the UK is only about $437 million worth of leather products out of total UK imports of $6.7 billion. And I think in the next 2 to 3 years, we should easily be at least target $2 billion worth of exports out of India. So that should come only to the UK alone. And I have a feeling that this has happened in UK, and I really want to thank our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, and our Commerce Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal. They've done an excellent job for us, and this should bring a big boost to the industry.
I want to just understand fivefold growth, boost to the industry coming in. How does this help your margins as well? Because now you do not have to, take in that duty that was going on so far. So how will it help your margins going forward? How do you see that moving?
The duty is around 4%, so that should definitely add to the margin. But of course, for adding to the margin, we have to become more efficient, and the factories have to be more efficient. And there are some restrictions on imports coming in for raw materials coming in from China, because this will give us a good entry into non-leather footwear sector, which is very, very important. And there we are going to have a 12% advantage, because then the duty into UK was 12%. So that gives us opens up a completely new foray into much larger manufacturing of non-leather footwear to be exported to UK, and I think the same should happen soon with Europe. So yes, good. There's very good times looking ahead. So yes, it should add
Times
to
looking
margins as well.
Tausif, just before we move on to Pallab, for a quick comparison, what is the cost of production in India ex of duty versus all the other countries that we're speaking about? Tausif?
Sorry, what's the question again?
What is the comparable cost of production ex of duties in India versus Cambodia, China and Vietnam? Will duty be the only differentiator?
I think the duty is no. Yes, I think duty. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Duty is the only differentiator because there is anti-dumping duty on raw material, for example, on PU goods, and there is talk of through the Council of Leather Exports. We're talking to the government, hopefully trying to mitigate that in some shape or form. So that's a huge disadvantage of bringing in materials, paying anti-dumping duty on raw materials, and a lot of raw materials is 22% duty. So that sort of reflects in the product alone of about minimum difference of around 10%, and then getting rid of this import duty of 4% on leather footwear and about 12% on synthetic footwear into UK. So all that will add up and give a huge boost to the industry. Yes.
Would you say the same of the garment sector, Pallab?
Similar. See, what happens is, if you talk of Bangladesh as a apparel hub or garment manufacturing hub, over the period of this duty advantage for certain countries was existing for quite some time out there. As a result, the ecosystem that got built up, the efficiencies and the ecosystem that got built up in the whole system is slightly ahead of India, I would say, at this point of time. So once this kind of FTAs, like if you see, Indian government is now looking forward to some kind of agreement with UGES, which is a much larger market, and also with EU, which is the biggest market. So with this kind of approach to the trade and manufacturing, we will see a tremendous change in India over the next, 2 to 5 years. You will see the whole scenario will change if these things are in place. We had these kind of shortcomings. And of course, what Mr. Mirza is saying is that getting that raw material, because a lot of raw material is not made in India. Anything which is synthetic is still not there. Sorry, you're asking something?
No, please continue.
Yeah. So if you see, a lot of this synthetic raw material that China got, the ecosystems got made, they got a lot of these mills and raw material manufacturing happening out there, which is still not happening in India. So if you have to import those raw materials, then we are paying a high duty, or like it has to be done against the advance license or against the exports. So those kind of norms do exist in this country. I think every country have some kind of norms, but I think the ecosystem that developed in Bangladesh and Cambodia was slightly more easier because of their dependency on this manufacturing of apparel was much higher.
Okay.
So we would see this kind of changes as well. This is, I think, a stepping stone. I think the first step, we have this kind of advantage and built up the whole infrastructure system.
Okay, a stepping stone there. So surely a positive one coming in for textiles, footwear, as well as gems and jewelry. So thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining in with us this afternoon. It was a short conversation, but thank you so much for joining in with us and in giving us insights in terms of what we should be watching out from the industries. But on that note, slipping into a very short break, and as we slip into the break, a small programming note for our viewers as we are slipping here into the break, that as the workplace transforms, so must leadership in the Bengaluru edition of Future Female Forward Season 3. India's top business leaders gather to reimagine what inclusive leadership looks like and how women are powering the future of work, capital and innovation. Catch it live on July 29th, 5:30 p.m. onwards, only on CNBC TV 18, CNBCTV18.com and YouTube.